Hello, Patriots. I'm Lee Watts, and this is Patriot Point, your source for Kentucky news and analysis from a conservative, Christian, and common sense point of view. Well, in this week's news, guess what? Mitch McConnell is at it again. Yes, that's right. Mitch McConnell here about a month ago was giving an interview up in Washington, D.C., and he just has, I don't know, some kind of a event, stroke, seizure, conniption, whatever you want to call it, where he's just catatonic and unresponsive for about 20 seconds. Well, all of this just happened again, only about a month later. He was up in northern Kentucky this Wednesday in a city called Covington, giving a press conference and just goes catatonic, unresponsive for this time longer, 30 seconds or more. So don't take my word on what's going on first. I'm actually going to show you the interview, and then we'll talk about the implications.
What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator Benny.
So there it is, right in front of everybody's eyes again, completely unresponsive, catatonic. I hope it gets better. Really, the best thing for somebody who's in their 80s is what Mitch McConnell is in his 80s now. He's having these kind of events. The best thing somebody at that point in life can do is retire, to step away from their job. We're getting multiple reports from people in Congress saying that when Mitch McConnell's sitting in committee meetings, he is sitting there completely catatonic, unresponsive. But let's say, Lord forbid, something happens to the man and he does pass away while in office. If that happens while Andy Beshear is still governor before the elections, then Andy Beshear will get to appoint who is our next senator. You don't even get to vote on this. If Daniel Cameron wins the governor's election and Mitch McConnell dies after January, when Cameron would take office, then Cameron will get to appoint the replacement senator. Whoever is the appointed person will serve until the election in November of 2026. So I sincerely doubt that Mitch, even if he is in the hospital on death's door, he's never going to resign to give Andy Beshear the opportunity to replace him. Now, I talked about this in depth and talked about the constitutional requirements for all of this in my program about a month ago. Putting on the screen now, this is the thumbnail. If you would like to see the parts of the U.S. Constitution that would come into play if all of this were to happen, the parts of Kentucky law that would come into play. So I encourage you, if you want to learn more about this and what the law actually says, click on that thumbnail video. You'll see the picture there, and I'll put a link directly to that in the description of this video. But things going on with Mitch McConnell, this is not the only news that is happening in Kentucky right now. And this other news is also that's happening in Kentucky is going to have national impacts. There is a nationwide company, really an international-based company that is based right here in Kentucky, and they're doing something which is going to impact worldwide. And the people who can do the most about it are my fellow Kentuckians. It is the Yum Company. Yes, the people who run the Yum Center up there in Louisville, they own several of the great big fast food restaurants, including Kentucky Fried Chicken, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. Those are their three big ones. Well, they have come out and announced that they are no longer going to be accepting your money. They don't want your cash. They are going completely cashless. Now, this is a horrible idea. It's and we're going to talk about the incredible dangers of this in a second and what you can do about it. And here's the problem. This is having a snowball effect. We've now seen KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell do it. So we're having other companies jump on this bandwagon. We had the Crystal Burgers. They came out in August the 28th, just this week, and have said, they're no longer going to be taking cash either. Of course, I saw there was some competing signs. Zaxby's, a chicken place, they came out and said that to be crystal clear that they will accept cash. So good for Zaxby's. If you want to eat your chicken, instead of get it from KFC, maybe you can get it from Zaxby's. Now, here's why this is incredibly dangerous for us. Having only digital money will enable total government control.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
Let me give you a quote about this from Garfield. No, not this Garfield, but the president, James Garfield. Whoever controls the volume of money in any country is absolute master of all industry and commerce. And here you would have the government with only digital money. They would be the absolute master of all of the money, who's getting it, where it's at. Notice this warning from our fourth president, James Madison, one of our founding fathers. He said, history records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling money and its issuance. Let's say, hey, there's just too much climate change and you're driving your car too much, so you're only allowed to buy this much gas per week to go somewhere. This is not beyond the realm of what the Bidens and the radical left climate communists are trying to do. If they think there's an organization that they declare to be a domestic terrorist, which, by the way, if you're a Bible-believing, pro-life Christian, you've already been labeled technically a domestic terrorist officially by the Department of Homeland Security. People who are pro-life, pro-gun, pro-America first are already labeled officially by the government as domestic terrorist threats. And they can cut off your money to donate to pro-life organizations or pro-gun organizations, or they're like, hey, you're not allowed to own guns or to allow more than one. You're not allowed to buy more gas or go to these meetings or donate to certain organizations. This is incredibly dangerous. Why do you think that they want to have these smart meters in everybody's homes? Why do you think they want to have only electric currency, only electric cars, only electric stoves? Because all of it can amount to control and be turned off with a flick of a switch if you're not in compliance. So what can we do about this? Well, a few different things. Not only can we boycott these businesses that are saying they won't accept cash and go to their competitors, we can actually do a little bit something more here in Kentucky. Remember, the Yum Corporation owns KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Hut. They're one of the big leaders in this. Well, they're based right in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm putting up right now, you want to write them, you want to call them. This is their address. This is their phone number. You notice it's a 502 because it's here in Kentucky. So let's inundate, let's overwhelm these people saying, I'm never going to go to your restaurants again as long as you do not accept cash. Not only boycott, but let them know about that. And then if we can get them to reverse that, maybe we can push back against this trend toward total government control. This is actually part of the main theme of this thriller book that I wrote here recently called The Coming One. It's about this guy who stumbles on a plot from the New World Order to take total government control using a central digital currency. It's got a lot of things in there that aren't just fiction, but things taken right from today's headlines that are really happening. It's getting great reviews. If you'd like to get a copy, it's available now on Amazon. Just look for The Coming One by yours truly. Taking a lot of things that are happening and combining them into a story that I think you will find very compelling. Well, I have one other piece of news this week before we sign off, and this kind of a sad piece of news. It's not like the other ones were happy. But the other piece of news is for the last few weeks, I've been talking about bringing a movie called Go West here to Kentucky. For some unforeseen circumstances, I'm not going to be able to do that because I'm not going to be able to be there for it myself. So we're going to have to pause this. I'll cancel it for now. We may do this again at some point in the future. So these are the things we got going on right now here in Kentucky. So I hope you will do your part to stand up for liberty. That's what we have for you this week. So until next week, I'm Lee Watts for Patriot Point, reminding you that liberty is not a spectator sport.